Ladies and gentlemen, we are back for episode 2 of Operation Magic. And you know what? This is where we are going head to head for, I think it's an easy win, but it's we're going Disney's world versus land, the classic debate. And, you know, we're jumping in, we're diving in. We're going to tell you the biggest differences, share our personal experiences, and maybe even settle a little friendly rivalry between the two of us. Who knows? I don't think anything's going to settle, but we're going to try. So I would strap in, get ready, and get ready for the carnage.
Let's get ready to rumble! Yes, that's right. We're going to have a wild time, guys. It's going to be wild. It's because people don't understand. My passion for Disneyland is like no other. My best friend literally owns 2 Walt Disney signatures, which is the weirdest thing to say on a podcast. Which
it's pretty sick, though, man.
Yeah, I know.
I mean, that's kind of a flex. I'll give him that.
It is a huge flex. You know, I've been to where the man has dreamed up this dream of Disneyland in Marceline, Missouri, and this man has only been to Florida. This is come on, no. I love it because this is a debate that I have with so many people. And at the end of it, I feel more educated, not offended like people want us to be and get offended by. Not what I do. And I hope people feel educated by what I'm going to be presenting here because they both are, in my mind, equal in very many ways. But I do feel an affinity for Disneyland. And I do feel that one park is better than the other. And why I haven't been to Florida yet, we'll explain why.
Okay. This is like an unfair on both sides fight in some ways because we've both not visited the other park.
But
so that makes it a little harder.
It makes it harder, but it also gives a fair perspective if you think about it. Because there's no way to... The only way I can fact check you is up against other people who've been to World. That's one.
Sure.
And that's what makes it unfair there. But I also take you at your word with the military perspective. If you hear loud noises in the background, guys, that's my kids playing outside on a sunny evening here in the Pacific Northwest where I live, recording this episode. But the fact is my, I, at the end of the day, have an affinity for the knowledge of both parks. And that's why it's not so unfair to me because I'm going to take you at your word because you grew up only going to one park like I kind of grew up to going to one park. You've seen the changes. You've been a part of the changes.
Exactly.
I've done the same thing in California, and it's been a big part of my lexicon, part of my life, my whole life. And I can speak to a lot of things from a nostalgic point of view, as a cast member point of view, and as a veteran point of view. And Josh can speak as it from, an agent, a parent, as someone who was a first timer. And his first trip to his second trip are very different. So there's going to be a lot of compare and contrast, I think. But I do think this is one for the ages, guys. So like you said, strap in.
Let's start off with the obvious, man. And to me, the only reason this is even still a debate is the man himself, Walt Disney. And that is the only reason that this 500-acre park can keep up with a 25,000-acre mega park. I
disagree.
think it all boils down to Walt Disney, man.
I don't think so. Yes, I brought up Marceline, I brought up One Man's Dream, and I brought up, well, it doesn't really boil down because that 500 acres was only supposed to be like not really that big, maybe 100 acres, like the 100-acre wood. It wasn't going to be very big. It was only meant for so much. But the fact is yes, he turned this 500-acre orange grove, which was actually going to be a lot smaller, guys. If you know the story, if you haven't watched the Imagineering story on Disney. If guys, fact is this park was supposed to be bigger. Walt didn't have the foresight. Walt had the foresight in his later years for Walt Disney World. Roy capitalized on that dream and made it come to fruition because he wanted to let his brother's last real dream breathe and become life. But in some ways, it isn't Walt's, and it never was Walt's, all but the concept. And we know that. The reason Disneyland is so much bigger than just one man is what that man did in the span of time, first and foremost. uh, the attractions that are still there that hold true today. And God, I hope we can hold on to Matterhorn just a little bit longer, just a little bit. I
I
that
agree.
that missing
I
that
don't
mountain.
think it
If we
should go anywhere.
no, well, Matterhorn structurally, and we'll talk about this in a little bit when I get to the pitfalls of Disneyland, because there are some pitfalls that I'll talk about that I'll take the jabs, I'll take the counters. I have no problem with that. Fact is I'm also real with it that there are things that have taken away from not keeping the park on top, and some people would say in the Disney World view as superior, but there are things that make it far superior. As you guys just lost a great piece of Walt Disney World history, a great piece of history that I hope the waters of that place come to our park, because there's cultural ties to that as well, and that would be Tom Sawyer's Island. You guys lost
Yeah,
Tom Sawyer's Island.
I think losing Tom Sawyer's Island was a huge blow. Um, I disagreed with the move, but who am I? You
Yeah,
know,
right.
I disagreed with Splash Mountain. You know, I
So, well,
disagreed. You
I
know,
disagree.
it's your own
You're
story. You know,
right. No, I a lot of people disagree with Splash, and even Disney in some subtle ways is saying we understand and we're
thanks.
sorry. They're like they're starting to realize, like, wow, this ride
Man,
doesn't hold up the way.
and not to get too crazy off topic, I
Yeah.
will say one thing about Splash is this: I would have had more respect if they torched the whole thing and built a brand new ride than
Yes.
to just plaster over
Yes.
all the Bayou stuff and just call it the new Tiana's Bayou Adventure.
No,
And I because I can sit there on my phone. This is what I did the first time I wrote it. I played the Splash Mountain theme song while I rode that whole ride,
Oh yeah, I would
and
have.
just to
Yep.
just to me. But
I,
my daughter, oh, she just loves it.
but
So
see, that's the thing.
it's her
Kids
thing
and
now.
little girls love it.
It's her
And
thing.
me, I'm a peer. Not to get, like you said, too far down the rabbit hole. I'm a former Splash Mountain cast member, so I'll always have an affinity for that attraction in my life. The coolest thing I ever saw is you go down, we called it drop 5, the big drop down into the Briar.
Hmm.
There's a doorway, there's a maintenance door, and you just open it and you can stand, there's an alcove, and I remember this. And the lead who trained me, is like, just listen. It's going to sound like a space shuttle taking off at 500 miles an hour, and no joke, that came down here. Whew, you're like, what the fuck? What?
That's cool.
Whoa! It was a trip, dude, and it's so that
That's
that to
cast
me,
members' own magic right there.
yeah, no,
Your own little magic that we don't get.
no, and so there's little things. So there's cool things I'll talk about. That I can talk about that ride for hours. That's a whole episode in itself.
Well,
So
let's
yeah,
let's go to let's name some obvious things,
all
right?
right.
That most people would say. First is going to be size. Okay, I think the
Size. Oh
I
gosh.
think the debate is unfair outside of Magic Kingdom. Um,
Yeah.
I think that if you include Epcot, you're done. Animal Kingdom, like if you're taking all of Disney World,
Well,
there's no
you know what?
way
No. Well,
we can
because
even
wait.
have this conversation.
Well, so Magic Kingdom does not house Hollywood Studios, right?
No.
All right. So Hollywood Studios, this is how you can house it, because property wise and hotel wise, no, you cannot match up, because the variety of hotels,
Oh,
the
it's insane.
price, the
Yeah.
price point in Florida compared to California, very different. That's a very obvious thing.
Win.
Take the obvious out of it. Take the
Say
obvious out of it.
win, nothing. It's obvious W.
Yeah. But you can keep the parks in, because the only park that I do really want to experience is Animal Kingdom, because there's nothing like that on this side that's beautiful from what I've heard, and I would love to enjoy that. And the
The
water parks,
argument can be
okay,
made that Animal
what?
Kingdom might be better than Magic Kingdom. I mean,
That's what I've
there's
heard.
people out there that if I want everybody to listen to me very closely, because this is something I hear people say. Oh, we'll just do Animal Kingdom half the day and then go back to wherever. If you're doing Animal Kingdom for half a day, you need help. You need assistance. That park should take you all day, and it closes early because of the animals themselves anyway. So that park is like a 6 p.m. close time, 6 to 8 o'clock
You
at
still
night.
got what, 3 hours at
Yeah,
main all the other
bounce back
parks?
over to wherever you
Yeah.
want, but that park is gorgeous, bro. And now that they got rid of the eyesore that was Dino Land,
Hmm.
they they're putting Indiana Jones in there, and I think Encanto
I
is
think
going
that's a
in there.
beautiful place for Indiana Jones, by the way.
It's gonna be it's now the only ride that I'm bummed about is Dinosaur got taken out.
I
That was
heard
a
that's a beautiful
that was a
ride too.
that was a cool ride, man. But that wasn't a very popular movie back in the day, so
No, it
I
wasn't, and
can
it's a good
I
movie.
can
It's a
see.
really good movie.
Oh, yeah, it's great.
Yeah,
But
I
but
like it.
back to our point, when you look at the size comparison, it's almost like we should be comparing each of Disney World's parks, including Disneyland, because if you compare world as a whole, it is what it is. It's world. It's an entire
Exactly.
world
So here's
versus
what I
one
will
continent.
here's what I will tell you with Disneyland. Um, Besides size, oh, that's the one drawback. But the two parks that are there now, I will say, Old California Adventure would not hold a candle to any of the parks um, at Disney World today, or even then.
Okay.
New California Adventure with the updates that they've done and the way they've kept it and the exclusivity that you kind of get with the Grand California being right there on property and being able to have your own gate into DCA. That's great. They I think that you can compare that with, like, so you have Animal Kingdom, Magic Kingdom, you have Epcot, and you have I know I missed one. I said them
Hollywood
all.
Studios,
Hollywood Studios. So that's fine.
Disney
So
Springs,
Disney Springs, downtown Disney. So Disney Springs, you have to think.
dude.
And here's the thing, guys. Disney
Raglan
World
Road, by
was
the way.
Disney World was bought under shell companies. That's why this land was a mess. So it's, and back in the day, this was done very illegally but everybody knew what was going on.
Yeah,
Everybody knew it. Nobody was dumb. They're like, oh, well, we're just gonna let it happen. Florida was
look
shady
what
back
we got.
then.
Perfect.
However, the fact is I think the only two parks that you really are two parts of Disney World that you can't really compare. Disney Springs and downtown Disney, two very vastly different feels because of the vibe. You guys are right up on the water. We're right in the middle of between two parks. Space does matter, but you guys have some different things that I think you guys still have a Rainforest Cafe there.
Yeah, and it's humongous.
Yeah.
I mean, dude, look, and we're talking so immersive, man. Like, to the point where not only when you talk about the world of Avatar or Galaxy's Edge, right, and those
Right.
different kind of lands, but just the restaurants. When you go to Raglan Road at Disney Springs, you are transported to Ireland, and that's my
Okay.
favorite restaurant of all time. You
Okay.
have Irish tap dancing teams up there doing their thing. The food is as authentic Ireland as you can get, and then you pop back. It's like our launch episode talks about learning about what makes this place magical. It's not the
Right.
Disney bubble. It's bubbles within bubbles within bubbles.
Right.
So
Right.
Raglan Road is a little Irish safe haven, a little bubble on its own. And then you pop back out, boop, you're back into the Disney Springs bubble, which is still inside the Disney World bubble.
Right. Right. No, and that's kind of like the same thing. So here's a fair comparison. Um, so actually, no, this is what makes Disneyland better than Disney World here, my friend.
Okay,
Your guys's Batu East, as everybody calls it, is in Hollywood Studios,
correct.
right? I know you had to take up a half of a park for that.
Yeah, yeah, because we can.
That's just because we can. So that's your justification for taking out Tom Sawyer's Island, then, because we can.
Well,
I mean,
we didn't take out what did we take out for Galaxy's Edge?
I don't remember exactly what
Because
was.
I think, I mean, we took out some old stuff. I think Honey might have been, was that, or is that Universal? I get Honey confused. Shrunk the Kids, was that Universal?
That was that. No, that was Disney.
That was Disney. Okay,
Yeah, yeah.
so I know that was there because I used to play in the giant blades of grass as a kid.
Okay, yeah,
But that
yeah.
was really cool, like the little oat milk cream pie thing. You know, it
That
was
would have been
giant.
cool. Yeah, yeah.
Um,
That
so we
giant ant
did
was
get rid
actually
of
an actual prop,
some
by the way.
stuff. I don't know if that got replaced,
That had to have.
but I tell you what, man, we walk under that little tunnel, and you are in outer space. You are
Oh
transported
no, no,
to.
you really are. That's the only piece of John Williams music that you'll hear in the park, by the way.
That's
Is
pretty cool.
in that tunnel. So, but yeah, you're transported in that tunnel. We literally the only thing that we had to divert was the train and part of Rivers of America, and all of that land that we used was old stable land for our animals, which we took off. We are now off property. They're better, you know. Every animal at Disney, they go to the stables at night, and there's different animals for different days. You don't want to overwork your animals. You want to keep them well trained. Those horses on Main Street, they go through a lot. Take care of your animals. Make sure
Don't pull like a the neighbor down the road to Disney World. Don't pull those guys and treat your animals like that and end up on Netflix documentaries.
yeah, don't do that.
Don't pull a Tillicum.
Yeah, don't
So,
do that, guys. No. But the fact is so that was all land that was available, and Disneyland again. You hit the nail. We don't have a lot of land. We have to make do. We're like the expansion that's coming. We're going to get a Coco attraction, which is supposed to go over by the pier, and then we're getting an Avatar attraction, which I am not for it and where they're putting it. I'm very angry. They're taking out one of my favorite attractions, which will be Mike and Sully to the rescue, a Monsters Inc. attraction, which replaced a terrible attraction, which was Hollywood Limousine, which took you through the hills of Hollywood. And you met celebrities like.
Your problem, man, is that you guys can't expand. You have to destroy
No,
and
we
rebuild.
can though. That's the issue.
Where?
So if you guys like YouTube and you like guys, hey Bricky will break this down for you better than I can. But Disney has a series of unused parking lots, which were cast member parking lots. One of them was the K lot, the Catella lot. I remember catching the bus to main parking lot in the main park. From there, there's a whole. You could almost put a small like a DCA style attraction there. There's another parking lot where you could have another maybe smaller park or a water park like Blizzard Beach there that they own. And, it's and you could easily build the Skyway to and from those areas. There are the capabilities, but Disney has to work it out with Anaheim. And that's the only difference is that you are within your own technical district in Florida, technically, right. But Anaheim and Disney have a very handshake agreement, but it's a matter of working around the hotels, which again is
working in California is harder than Florida for sure.
It is definitely harder, and also, the hotels that aren't on Disney property, which pose some of the risk. But Disney, what they've been doing in recent years, is when those properties come up for sale, they're able to buy them. And they're buying these properties are either that they've destroyed one. They destroyed my favorite hotel that I stayed off property called the Carousel Inn. Had a beautiful glass picturesque like suites that you can look over and look over like to the Matterhorn and monorail outside the park. It's really cool. But it's one of those things that they have the land to do it. They're just having to do all these workarounds. And it will eventually come to fruition, but they're having to destroy and take attractions out. Like, I loved a Bugs Land. We had a Bugs Land for a long time, and it's kind of like your guys' version of, Honey. But you were transported into the world of Bugs. But they had to make way for Avengers Campus. And that's fair. Marvel IP, it changes. Things change. And Walt Disney said it best. The parks will always be changing. So if you live under that umbrella and that idea, you have to kind of cope with some of the things we lose. It sucks. I'm sorry. But you're right. In some degree, we have to destroy. But in other things, we've been able to make some transitions. But there are some attractions like you guys are losing. You guys just lost Muppet Vision. It's like you're losing these big attractions that really gave Disney World the edge, because we had a Muppet Vision, but that was replaced by Mickey's PhilharMagic.
I don't. I could just be an idiot. I mean, it could be. I'm just dumb. I don't understand why. Let's just use Muppets being replaced with the coaster for Monsters Inc. Okay,
Right,
the new door coaster, which actually looks pretty cool.
right.
Why a 20-year-old movie? Why something that's like
This is
so
why
far dated and not
Monsters Inc. has always been and always will be a very popular attraction and popular IP, and this is simply because it has something for everybody. The little kids can relate to Boo. You know, everybody can relate to the buddy thing, which you get with Mike and Sully. Then you have the fun and love of Monsters U and the TV show, which is wonderful. I love the TV show. So you had some renewed stuff with that the last few years, and we just hit a big anniversary for it. Like you said, it's about 20 plus years old, and so that's a big deal. So replacing that and Muppets,
I just feel like it's on the end of its like life. I mean, I know it'll be popular for a long time, but there's got to be more popular things. There has to be something better. I'm gonna ride it. I'm gonna enjoy it.
To compete with Stitch and all the Stitch IP that's coming out and Moana, it competes very well. As where Muppets doesn't hold up.
Why not Moana?
You guys have a Moana attraction. You're getting one.
We have the water thing.
Yeah, you have that. You got Moana. You got something.
Yeah, and I think that's cool. But like I would think that would be like you're on your little boat and you're like flying through the ocean or something.
Here's another reason why Disneyland is better. Canoes. What I talked about in the first episode. Canoes.
They put you to work.
It's not well. So here's the fun thing that Disney, all of Disney parks lost was the canoe races, the canoe competition. That used to be a big deal at the Disney parks. So the best canoe crews it's like a row team almost. You get your crews together and they'd have teams, and the best teams that won at Disneyland would compete, I guess, against the ones from World. And it was just this big inter park competition. So when you take something like that, like promotes, with us being military, and you can relate to this, camaraderie matters. And if you have that sort of camaraderie between your parks and you're able to connect with them at that time in the 70s and 80s, and I think into the early 90s even, you're able to build a stronger parks team overall, because you feel like you're a part of everything. And losing something like that takes away, that's a hit to your whole team. That's a hit to all the parks. But Disneyland still has that. And everybody that I know at Canoes, they're like a family. Like they're like tight as can be. Because there's only a select few that are canoe, that are canoe captains.
So I'm getting the overall idea for you is that the only thing that makes Land better than World is that it's still holding on to a couple like nostalgic ideas.
No, the nostalgia act is great. No, it's not even that. So I'm using the nostalgia as a base. The nostalgia sets the base.
Yeah.
Because, like I said, nostalgia sets the base for World. Nostalgia hinges on, because the only reason, like, if we're going to use Josh's logic here, what we need to create a new segment called Josh's logic.
It's not good.
No,
there's nothing happening up here.
So with Josh's logic here, he wanted to say that the only thing that Disneyland that has jaw is because of Walt and the man that Walt was, and that's why it holds on to. Because yes, you have his bench, you have this, you have that, you have Walt Disney's Tiki Room, right? The OG, but you would not have Walt Disney World without Walt Disney, because his name's at the beginning. It's not Roy, Walt, because it came from whose imagination? Walt Disney created the concept. So you have to take that out of the equation. But I use nostalgia to prop it up, because there are a lot of great nostalgic things at World, like Spaceship Earth and Epcot. That's so nostalgic. Any piece of IP or travel material that is put out for Disney World always has a shot or video or a picture of what? Of what?
Castle,
Spaceship Earth
the
and the castle.
188-foot castle.
Okay. You don't have to walk through for Sleeping Beauty.
It's like 60 feet. I could
I know
dunk on
it.
your castle.
You can't dunk on anything. Your knees are weak.
Listen, if you took Walt out of the park completely and
Right.
just labeled it Park A and Park B, I mean, that's why I say Walt is so important to Disneyland, is because without it,
No, and
just
I can
park
I
for
can
park, I
see
think
that.
it gets crushed.
I can see that argument, but then that's when you have to break it down like you have to break down the Universal property as 4 different parks.
Yeah. Now, if you went Magic Kingdom, so would you agree in saying Disney World is better than Disneyland?
Never.
Disney World, the
No,
entire
never.
world of Disney.
No, because, and this is why, the lexicon of accessibility. Disneyland was looked at the American dream. How many songs have references to Disneyland as opposed to Disney World? I know one song that makes reference to Disney and Disneyland directly, I think on 2 different occasions within the matter of a 5-second span.
Okay.
Which
I mean, like,
think about it.
that's
The lexicon of Disneyland as opposed to Disney World. Yes.
I am talking the normal masses of people. I guess I did ask you specifically,
You did.
but I mean,
I
come
don't
on. If
don't
you
think so.
including Epcot and Animal Kingdom and Hollywood Studios into the argument, they
But
crush
they don't, because you wait till you go to California Adventure, you'll see what I'm saying. So California Adventure, the only thing that I would take out of this, like I said, because drinking around the world, that's awesome. And you guys have Frozen, you have
Well, not
Ratatouille.
even that. The cultural experience on each
No,
country is insane.
no, I'm just getting to that too. The cultural
Yeah,
experience, I give them that. That's almost like, because I want to experience that stuff is cool to me.
that's almost a thing on its own.
Yeah, but as for like Spaceship Earth, what's in Spaceship Earth besides
Barf bags.
right?
Or Mission Space. I thought you were you're staying in Epcot, right? You're talking about
Yeah, I'm talking about the big ball,
yeah.
Spaceship Earth.
The big ball is I love the big ball.
Yeah,
I love it. It needs to be
But-
updated, but there's unique smells in there that are like amazing.
yeah,
And
that
it takes
old
you through
stale puke.
Wait, what? No, you go through you go through the Apple Garage. You know,
Okay.
when they're creating all that stuff, you go back in time. I mean, it's a good way to cool down.
Okay.
It's when it gets stuck, it's great because I give it more time to nap. And
Oh
just
yeah, I love attractions like that. I love a good
Now-
napping attraction.
Now, if you go back to Epcot and you're talking Mission Space,
Yeah.
that needs to be taken out right now. It doesn't belong there, man.
Right.
And it is like puke haven.
Oh god.
That's where you go through your little
Yeah.
simulator.
That's
my
what
God,
that's what it smells like after I go to Elga's and ride Big Thunder Mountain. But no, so there's so for me it's like I look at the things that they have taken away that matter to the Disney brand overall and the park going experience. So nostalgia is a big part of that. That's a huge factor in this. It's not just Walt. Like look at Mr. Toad. Mr. Toad is one of the most popular attractions at Disneyland still to this day. What used to be at Disney World, Mr. Toad, it's no longer there. Snow White. Yes, you have Seven Dwarfs Mine Train, but everybody likes that 2-minute, attraction of Snow White's Scary Adventure. That's not there. Stuff like that people enjoy. And when you start taking stuff that really brought Disneyland or Disney World to the map with the fantasy aspect of the princesses and stories of Mr. Toad, and people always wonder, why is Peter Pan's Flight Over London so long of a line for a 90, not even, it's like a 17-second ride or 42 seconds, something stupid, such a small number.
Yeah.
You're on it, you blink, you're done. And it's one of my favorite. Peter Pan's my all-time favorite Disney movie. So it's one of my favorite rides, and I don't mind waiting that 90 minutes for it. I don't mind it because it's worth it to me. But you have that in both parks, but you take other things that matter, like I said, a Toad, a Snow White, then it really starts to pale in comparison because it's like, okay, yeah, you've got the castle, you've got that dining experience, but and that's always a big thing that people say is, oh, your guys' castle's so small. Yeah, but guess what? It does the trick, and people love it because when you get on Main Street, it looks just as big as the one in Magic Kingdom from afar until you get up close because it's a forced perspective. I mean, you have to look at it. Shops are different. Everything's going to be different because of different vendors in different areas. You have to think about that as well. So it boils down to fan experience in my eyes. What makes your magic so great? Because looking at DCA, to me, you can compare that to Hollywood Studios with a mix. Yeah, because Disneyland, we have Batu at Disneyland. That doesn't take half of a park. We have half of a park devoted to cars. You had to take out Rivers of America for cars.
Yeah, but we're slowly becoming you. We're just gonna have Disneyland here in Florida.
And that's the sad thing too. And I
That
don't want
sucks.
that.
I don't like that. I
I
mean,
don't like
what's the
that
point
either.
of
And
going?
that is why I like this argument, because it also pinpoints the idea of like, I don't want Florida to be like us, but I still want there to be the feel like the original aspect of what Walt wanted. He still wanted that the Disneyland of the East.
I have a crazy question for you.
Yeah, what's up?
I mean, I'm just playing devil's advocate here. Is there a world we live in where things get so hard that we lose land
Oh no.
altogether?
No.
Don't think so. Even
I
with
don't think
like
so.
being surrounded by like other things you can't expand, do you think they just keep turning it? And,
They keep turning it over because what ends up happening. So I'll use a great example of that too.
because cars going to Florida was what made me start thinking that, where it's like, why would they? Like, I get it, but like, why? It's inland, right? Don't you want to give people a reason to go to both, and make stuff
Right.
unique, and not just copy and paste
Right.
it everywhere?
So, and that's the thing. I hope they don't do that with the Avatar ride, because there's that potential for the Avatar ride to do that. Hope they don't do that with the Coco ride on the East and West. I hope they're not the same attraction. The draw to me is like to go to Florida is Ratatouille. I want to ride Ratatouille so damn bad. That ride looks so cool. I mean, it's how cool is that? I mean, but
I'm really laughing because I rode Ratatouille for the first time, really pissed off. I waited like 3 hours for Ratatouille.
Oh God.
And I got on that ride and I hated it.
Oh
And
no.
it didn't come back to me until the following year we went, and we were like, oh, it's like 20 minutes, let's just get on. And I had a blast.
Yeah.
So it was all mindset. I mean, it was just funny.
Yeah. That's how I feel about Buzz Lightyear's Astro Blasters. I hated that ride for so long. For whatever reason, I just didn't like it. It was as boring as another Omnimover ride. It was
arcadey.
Yeah.
It's could have done something else.
You know what? As an adult, and after having a couple of adult beverages, and then going on there with my kid, oh my God. Like, my wife walked around with my kid, and I went and grabbed a couple beers and had a couple drinks, and they were doing stuff. And me and my kid were laughing so hard, having a blast, because that ride, I'm just like, all right, if I can get over the fact, because I think what it was is, at the time we had the Starcade, which was outside of, so you would get off of, or before you would get, so you get off of, and before you get off Space Mountain. So our Space Mountain is obviously smaller, which is fine. I'm okay at that. You don't need to, whatever. So you have our Space Mountain, and you'd get off the attraction, and you'd walk by the Starcade, and you'd go into it, like you'd exit into the arcade, and there's an escalator at one point that would take you up to the top of Space Mountain at some points when the line was super short. They take you up to the top of the queue, and you'd have to go through the arcade. So the Starcade was right there, and then you had Star Traders, which was inside. Like, you went on Star Tours, and you exit Star Tours, which is still there. Star Traders is there, and Star Tours for now. You go in there, and you exit the attraction into the gift shop, and then you could pop into the arcade if you wanted. which it was such a fun little area to be in Tomorrowland. And that is the one thing that I think Disney World does really do well is Tomorrowland, because our Tomorrowland is like Sadland. I remember old Tomorrowland. You guys still have People Mover. I want People Mover back. You know, so
People
I
Mover
will.
is my jam, dude.
Oh, dude, I love
It's
People
my
Mover.
jam. I can get on, and that's another thing. Immersive ride. You
Yeah,
go straight through Space Mountain. I mean, you're right in the middle.
yeah.
I mean, I don't know if you, I mean, if you know how it lays out in
I
World.
I don't know how it lays out in World, but
It's
I do remember how
right.
immersive it
So
was.
you have Space Mountain, and it used to be back in the day when I was a kid that you would duel with the other side. Now it's
Yeah,
just whoever goes, right?
yeah.
But the People Mover goes right through as those two are going up, and you're like right in the middle of Space
Oh,
Mountain,
that's cool.
which is kind of sick, man. And you go through Buzz,
Oh,
and you're
that's yeah,
watching
yeah.
people play the blasters, and
See,
that's a chill, fun little something, man.
see, our spin on that was from what I remember, because they shut it down, and when they did the whole new overlay in the late '90s or mid '90s, the Jules Verne theme, they put in a ride called Rocket Rods, which was just the dumbest thing in the world. Ruined
Yeah.
that track. But you'd go through Star Tours, like you'd go through Star Tours, and as you wrapped around Space Mountain, you went through like a Tron theme after you came out of Star Tour, and then you went into it was the our Carousel of Progress, which they turned into Innoventions, which now is Star Wars Launch Bay. But you used to go into now what is Launch up and around the Autopia track, up by Matterhorn, and
Yeah.
back down around, and you'd come back up, and it was really cool. That was a good layout. It was like, and the track is still sitting there. You can see it. It's like, but why isn't that refurbished? Why haven't we invested our money there instead of putting the money into a new attraction, say like an Avatar, like a Coco, when all of your fans are asking for it?
I'm so glad you talked about putting money back into attractions because we're going to take a small break from our debate
Okay.
because I think our audience has clearly seen that one, and
No, okay, we're not done here.
we're going to I'm going to give you a little lighthearted fun game,
Okay.
and you can spin this back on me if you want, but you're going to have to come up with your own choices.
Okay.
We are going to play remove, keep, and refurbish.
Okay.
Okay, I'm going to give you 3 attractions
Oh
strictly
God.
from Disneyland, and you're
Okay.
going to remove one, you're going to keep one, and you're going to refurbish one.
Okay.
Okay, so we're going to start off with just we'll call it round one classics.
Okay.
Okay, we're going to go Mr. Toad's Wild Ride, and forgive me because I'm looking at this list and I don't know if something's already closed or been refurbished
Okay. I'll let you
or
know.
what. So Mr. Toad's Wild Ride, the Matterhorn, and Snow White's Enchanted Wish.
Ooh. All right.
So
So
I need you to remove first,
remove. I
keep,
would, as
and
much as I
refurb.
do like the ride, they just refurbished it. I do like the refurb on it. I would have to say Snow White. As much as I love that ride and I don't want it to ever go anywhere, there are some other princesses that I would like to see represented in a different way, like Rapunzel. I would love to see a Rapunzel attraction. And for a while, we had the Spire out there at Disneyland that
Mm,
had her hair coming down and all
yeah,
that. And they've moved that since to Princess Fantasy Fair, I believe, with Pascal hanging out around that area. Like, little Pascal, like the carving or whatever. But I that one I would have to say that one. Um, refurb would definitely have to be Matterhorn
Matter.
because
Yeah.
it's that I just saw a video on it. Bricky even said that in order, because there's a whole dark water system that we could talk about in Disneyland, that how it transports water from. That's another reason why it's better is it can transport its dark water from attraction to attraction from like what is it, Tomorrowland to Rivers of America and back, and it's all this good stuff. However, you'd have to if you would have to tear that down and put a new attraction in there, you'd have to mess with the dark water system, which would cause some other attractions to have to go down right away. and there's not a plan in place for that. And they've been trying to consistently refurb it. It needs to almost be torn down and rebuilt. The mountain rebuilt, track stays the same, but a different style. The mountain needs to be redone to a different specification because that mountain is falling apart from the inside.
Now, you just a quick side note here, not to get too off track, just real quick.
Yeah.
You think that Blackwater thing is better than the Utilidor?
So the Utilidor, I'm not that's not an argument. The Utilidor is Utilidor because I like that concept because Disneyland
concept is amazing.
That's a beautiful concept, and
y'all gotta walk off property for a smoke break.
No, that's the foresight that they got, but this is what allowed that to happen. The foresight of what they weren't able to do at Disneyland and able to push
they
forward.
Did it all at World, yeah,
exactly. And the Utilidor was something that Walt wanted at Disneyland, but they had their push deadline, and then that was something that he was going to put in the future. Now, I do like, I do like that dark water system though, because that dark water system allows it to like transport like the old lagoon that they had for the boats, the old motorboat ride that they had there, and it's now a dock that you can eat your corn at. That's a structure they can't get rid of. That's a piece of scenery that's just infrastructure that it has to be there because it has a purpose that no one really understands why it's in there, but it's there, and that's a nuanced thing that if you pay attention to the detail and you understand that's good. But the Utilidor, they both hold their own purposes. You guys won't have much for a need of a dark water system due to getting rid of Tom Sawyer's Island.
Well, next up, let's keep it moving to Tomorrowland.
Oh, okay. Give me a second.
Yeah,
I've got to look at the Magic Kingdom Park here because I've got to see what you all have real fast because
for
this
what?
is all right. I've got one. I've got some for you here.
Okay.
And these are gonna be things that I think are fun and things that I think matter to the park itself, not in any way.
Well, I'm gonna be selfish. I don't care about that. I care about me and my enjoyment.
Okay, well that works too.
I'm just kidding, bro.
That works too. You be that guy.
I'm gonna be that guy.
Be that guy. So, would it be for the same topic?
Okay.
Under the Sea Journey. Seven Dwarfs Mine Train. Or Peter Pan's Flight.
Under the Sea, gone. I'm refurbing Peter Pan's Flight, and I'm keeping Mine Train.
Okay,
yeah, go ahead.
What would you refurb Peter Pan? How would you refurb it?
I think they can make the city make it look like it's actually flying with all the technology Disney has. I mean, they could change it from being model little tiny houses and just scale and to make it really look like you're flying. Because it's cool, it's cute, it's cheesy though too. Right?
Okay.
And you can tell. I mean, it's like Disney. That's like what Disney can do with their money. I mean, you can tell when you're flying over.
Yes.
This is a model set and I'm in a dark room, right? I want
100.
to cross that plane and go, oh shit. Did they just drop me over Orlando? Like where the hell am I at? Like this looks crazy.
Right. Well, and you've seen what they could do with technology with Soarin'. Soarin's a great example of technology.
Yeah, and you don't have to go that digital, but you can make it. I know they can make it look with the space they have to. I think make it look like
just adding a little digital Tinkerbell in there somewhere as as a part of it. That they have, you can do so much with string lights to where like Tinkerbell flies over and sprinkles the pixie dust on you, and now you're flying along.
Yeah.
There's
See? That's what I mean.
I could see that. That's fair.
And Seven Dwarfs is still so new that it's just a kind of normal coaster. And I love their sway technology that they have in that coaster.
Right.
So that's pretty cool. When I first rode that, I had no idea the cart swayed. So that really took me off guard, but I never ride that roller coaster anymore because it is always 3 hours minimum to ride that roller coaster, and it's at
That
least
is what I've
30
heard.
seconds. It's short.
Okay. What's
Yeah,
on tap next?
if you're gonna give me a hard time with this game, you're gonna have to put three monsters up together
Well,
because
so
I know I can eliminate any of those.
well, see, and that's with me too. It's like that one was kind of like, okay, you got to give me something that's with some substance there, my friend,
Okay.
because I for me it has to be a thinker. That one was like,
I got
Mr.
you.
Toad is one of my favorite rides. I love that ride because you get to go to hell and back. You can't you hit by a train, go to hell. Where else in Disneyland do you get to go to hell? You know, besides your wallet gets to go to hell.
Ready for this one then?
Oh yeah, I'm ready. Let's go.
All right, man. Let's go. Let's just ease into it. Let's do a little bit of. Give me Soren.
Okay.
Let's just do Soren. I'm assuming you like Soren.
I
'Cause
love
love
Soren.
Soren.
I love
Okay.
Soren.
Let's do. Oh, let's do Big Thunder
Ooh, okay.
and Haunted Mansion.
You son of a bitch.
And why are you eliminating Haunted Mansion?
I am not eliminating
See,
Haunted Mansion.
this is where I knew I'd get you because I don't think you'd refurb it either. I don't think you'd refurb it.
There are some things I would. There are some
really?
minor
Okay.
details I
Okay.
would. We'll get to that. So that is my. I'll tell you that there's some. All right. So I hate to say it. I don't like New Soren being a California guy, and I don't. You guys get Soren over California over there at all?
Yeah.
Okay. So forever it was just Soren over California for us. And for the nostalgia factor for me, that was my dad's favorite ride, no joke. Besides that and Grizzly River Run. And his favorite part of that was that orange grove at the end. You go over and you smell the fresh oranges, and it's just like that reminds me of my dad, and you took that away. And I'm like, you bastards. You took a part of my child. But I understand with Disney, and I get it. And I don't get me wrong, I like the new version, but it's just not my flavor. Yeah, it's not it. I like it. I ride it every time I'm there. I ride it 3 or 4 times. But the fact is, it's just not what I want. I love it, not what I want.
No.
Now, you brought up Big Thunder. That I love what they did. That would be my keep because they just refurbed it. But I think 3 or 4 years ago. That ride is always going under refurbishment for just different minor details, water effects, whatever it is. I love the new digital effect that they did in there as you go through the mine explosion. I love that when it's working. As you know, Disney technology doesn't always work. However, that would be my keeper because they just redid it, and I love that ride. And another nostalgic ride for me is one of my grandma's favorite rides, and she's the one who introduced me to that love, and I could never see getting rid of that for whatever reason. Like they did Big Thunder Ranch, the greatest barbecue restaurant area in Disneyland. Now my refurb. I would refurb some parts of Mansion. I would not refurb the expanding room. Would not. I love that technology.
You can't touch that.
They're talking about on both coasts getting rid of the hanging aspect of it. I would keep that. What I would refurb is the knight as you go up into the hallway. I'd refurb the knight. That I'd have him more prevalent, more scary, like he used to be back in the day. They actually used to have an actor in the original Haunted Mansion playing that knight to scare people when it first opened. I would Pepper's Ghost. I'd keep that. The attic. I would put the attic back a little bit. They just refurbed the attic. They're always refurbing the attic. I would put it back to 2 storylines ago with the old Constance Hatchaway storyline and the Dead Husbands. Or that they've interchanged it a couple times, but the original storyline of that with the 7 husbands and the pearl necklaces. That's the storyline that I was a cast member for. I love the Hatbox Ghost. I would redo the old man as you come out of the attic a little bit. I'd make him feel more lifelike. Make that chill as you come out the attic, because The idea is being pushed out the back of the attic. That's why you're falling backwards. People are like, well, you're not being. No, you push out of that window. That's why you turn backwards and you fall backwards into the graveyard. So, the graveyard. I love the graveyard scene. I don't like the digital effects with the hitchhiking ghost. So I would change some of that back to the old aesthetic. So I would refurb it into some of the old ways of what it was.
Cool.
Yeah, I mean it's not a big refurb, but it's a refurb to make it worth your time. So I know you're the mountain man. The mountain man, he calls himself, eh? Yep. So OG. Okay. If you we're playing
I know exactly what you're gonna do, man.
Oh no, I'm leaving Splash out of this.
I thought you were gonna make me go back in time and pretend it's Splash.
No. I was thinking that. But that's too easy. That's too easy.
Okay, what you got?
So, what is it, Yeti? What's the Yeti ride? Everest?
Oh, Everest. Yeah.
Everest, Space, and let's go with Tron.
I'm gonna like, all right, let me help you out a little bit for sake of like, making it difficult. I don't like Tron.
Okay, fair enough.
I mean, I wrote it. It's a really quick one, and like you're like less than a minute in. Okay. You know what I mean? And it's got no nostalgic value to me, so I don't really mess with that. What was the other two? You said Space Mountain?
Space and Everest.
Space and Everest. If you threw in Old School Splash or Big Thunder Mountain.
I was going to say Big Thunder.
Okay.
Big Thunder was my next pick.
We'll take Big Thunder because that makes things very difficult.
Okay.
Because
I know the keeper with Splash. I know the keeper with Splash.
Yeah, it wouldn't be actually.
Really? Okay, we'll approach that then. Let's push.
My keeper, without going into let's go into it just a little bit. My keeper is Space Mountain.
Okay, fair.
And my keeper is Space Mountain because that is the first family roller coaster that I got to ride in that kind of dynamic to where I'm in the front and my mom's behind me and my dad's behind. You know what I mean? Like it seats 3 and 3, and that just the way that made me feel as a kid, because my parents are divorced now for a long time, so that family dynamic of the way the seating was made me feel like we were all, some happy family. You know what I mean?
Right. Okay.
We weren't split up. It was like my dad was messing with my mom's shoulders in front of her, and she was messing with mine in front of me. You know what I mean? Like it was more than just a ride for that. So Space is always my number one ride at Disney World, all of Disney World. Now, I would refurb Splash to something that I like. I don't know what I'd do, but that's just the way I'd keep it. I'll even say I'll take the refurbishment of Splash Mountain to Tiana's over getting rid of it totally.
Okay, all right.
And then I'd get rid of the second most expensive roller coaster in Walt Disney World, which is Everest. That animatronic of the Yeti is like either number 1 or number 2
Disco
most
Yeti.
expensive. It's millions of dollars for that thing.
The Disco Yeti.
So that's where I'm at with that, man. And I love Space Mountain still. I mean, like look, and the older I get, the worse it gets to ride. It's so hard.
So you have an issue with it too. Okay.
I do. But I can't beat the nostalgic of it. I can't.
See, for me, I love that ride, and I try and attempt it at least once a trip, and I can't do it but one time because I come off. I'm like, dude, there's something about it that I don't feel right.
Do they black yours out for Halloween?
Yeah.
Ours is pitch black for Halloween. You can't see anything.
They did a horror theme one for a
Oh,
while.
so good, man. When it's pitch black like that, it's so good.
My favorite version of it was when they did for some time in the 2000s, they did Higher Ground by the Chili Peppers as a overlay, and then it was the California Screamin' at the time, not the Incredicoaster. They did Other Side for that soundtrack, and so it was fun. So they had a nice crossover with the Chili Peppers because it's that California sound.
And before we wrap up, man, we talk about the magic of Disney. The other side of that coin is moments that ruin it. And that trip I was on when I was a kid, man, I was in the middle of riding Space Mountain. You know, I could see the galaxies up in the sky,
Right.
and the freaking lights came on.
Oh gosh.
Middle of the ride, the lights came on. And,
as a kid, yeah.
And we have a local amusement park here that's gone now. It's now a concert ground, but called the Pavilion, and they had a Mad Mouse ride there, and I could never get it out of my head that I was basically riding a glorified Mad Mouse roller coaster.
Oh gosh.
Because it's the same concept. It's that like jerk this way, then turn jerk that way.
Yep.
You know, it's like Dinoland. It's the same thing.
Yeah.
Right? Except you're indoors. Right? Because that coaster is the slowest coaster in Magic Kingdom.
Yeah.
But it feels like it's fast because you're in the dark.
You're in the dark, yeah.
Yeah.
No, and that is true. And for me, it's like to finish up our debate. There's no real winning this argument because it's and it's not about winning the argument because like to sum up what Josh said, and he hit it really out of the park. If you were to like debate it, and it's like it's okay, yeah, you can debate it, but it's who's winning there? Because do you want WDW to be like Disneyland? Or do you want Disneyland to be like WDW? No. Yes, do they have their strengths and their weaknesses to each other? 100%. Do you have to like nostalgia is the base for Disneyland?
Mm-hmm.
Nostalgia is the base. The idea of nostalgia is the base for WDW. I shouldn't say nostalgia is the base because the idea, the imagination of nostalgia, and a world that Walt saw at that time was the last idea that he had, and that's where the nostalgia kicks in. Once you get past Magic Kingdom, you can almost, if you can lump WDW, not W, but Hollywood Studios and parts of Epcot together with DCA. There are certain parts of Epcot that are very much their own. Wouldn't you agree to some parts that Epcot almost feels like two parks in some ways?
Yeah.
So it's like you take that one part of the park that is like, okay, this is what I came here for. This is great, the cultural stuff. And yeah, there's little parts of the
Showcase seems like, even though they're right next to each other, it seems like an outlier.
Right.
You know, that's where you plan your dinners. That's where you go do your drinking around the world and you get to immerse yourself. But I mean, you're eating up, half your day at World Showcase just trying to make it around the park,
So, and that's exactly it. So it's like Epcot it feels disjointed in a way to what you could be doing, as where Hollywood Studios is like our DCA, and it's a smaller park. It was meant to have its purpose. It serves a good purpose. Some of the things that made it great are no longer there. Some of the things that do make it great are going to be replaced, as we know. The one big thing, the one big thing I will give Disney World besides hotels is Animal Kingdom. Animal Kingdom.
Yeah, Animal Kingdom slept on. It really is.
But otherwise, the parks, you want them to virtually stay different. You want them to be similar in many ways, but you want them to be very different. And the closer we get to reality, they're becoming this much more the same, because technology was different on either coast for a very long time. And now with the similarities and sharing of technologies and understanding what products take longer to do what, and how can we get this here faster, it's made the world of, things better, like things in technology and rides and the experiences more immersive and better. But it also has made it to where it's accessible on both sides of the world, to where both parks were very different 20 years ago.
100%. I completely agree with you. And even though Disney World destroys Disneyland. They're just different.
No,
But
there's no destroying each other.
but listen. That's it for our coast to coast or our host to host showdown. World versus land. I think we gave you guys some pretty good facts. We dropped some incredibly hot, spicy takes, and I think now it's your turn to let us know if we got it right. Who got it right? Did we offend your theme park pride a little bit? If you're a land guy or girl, how mad did I make you? Right. Well, I know of all you world people. I know James is like, he's trying.
You world guys. See, the thing is I know that segment of people. I know what button to push because you start talking. 100%. You start talking, Mr. Toad, and people are like, "Why? Why is Toad gone? There was no reason to put Pooh there." I'm like,
and as we're proving to you guys, this debate is far from over. And honestly, I think that's the magic of it. There's no one perfect park, like James said. Just the one that hits you personally in your feels, just like us.
We
all have our own unique experiences.
Yep.
We are gonna fight for our little piece of magic.
Yeah.
Right. And look, we're thankful you're here along for this ride. And especially being episode 2 in, I think we did our job. I think our mission tonight was a success. And if you could please just subscribe to our channel, help us get a little head start here, and let us know. Like I said, if we got it right, I think we'll be back soon again for episode 3 with a little bit more magic, probably a little bit more chaos and mayhem.
Yeah, I think the mayhem is
more unpopular opinions. Who knows?
Yeah, I think the mayhem and unpopular opinions are here to stay, guys. So get used to it. Like I said in episode 1, and I'm going to harp on this this whole attraction aspect of it all for us is we want the veteran voice. Your voice matters as veterans, as military members. We're both very veteran savvy because we're both veterans ourselves. And if you leave the comment with #veteran, we will make sure that your comment or story gets read for whatever time that we start getting them, and we can deem that into the episode. And if you're, we want to start working you guys in because you're a big part of this magic. Our stories will only take us so far. Your comments, your opinions will help fuel future episodes, future stories, future ideas. I mean, you guys, like I said, you're part of this as much as we are. We create the magic. You help bring it to us as well.
And we're going to be here for a while. So please, like you said, tell us your stories. We want to hear them. And we may have a guest on from time to time and hear their stories and share their magic a little bit too.
Guys, we have a back catalog of people we know. We have, we're part of a whole nother podcast that we're a part of that I'll tell you this much.
Get some characters on here.
Yeah, we have our co-hosts on the other show clamoring to say, hey, when do we get our chance to come on your guys' show to talk and hang out with you guys in your setting outside of our world here? Well, guys, you gotta wait a minute. Hold it back. Pull the reins back. Let us get our bearing, and we'll bring them in. But you guys, that's
stuff together.
Yeah, we got to get a few episodes under us, but we're there. We're getting there, and I hope you guys are enjoying what you're hearing. Thank you for listening to episode 2 of Operation Magic. I'm James.
And I'm Josh. Thank you, guys. Much love. See you on the next one.